Push your hand. Nope. Good morning, everyone. I'm Anita Fox. I'm the director of the Michigan Department. Can you hear me up there?
I don't think they can hear.
There's no.
They're working on it.
Okay.
I think they're going to shut off something that's making noise.
Fan? Is it the fan that's making noise?
These guys think they're running a business.
I know.
Go again. Okay. All right, let's try again. Good morning. They're asking me to stop. Do you keep going? They're going to shut off the fan. They want us to wait a second to shut off the fan. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't want anybody to miss a word to say.
Go ahead. There you go. Yeah, we're hoping to get that fan turned off. Seems to be winding down.
So we're going down with my son and my brother, who are state fans. The state till both teams are out.
All right.
So I got an Airbnb with 5 bedrooms. We're just going to crash.
That's a cool little city.
I hope we have spend some time there. I think both
We're good?
teams will be out tomorrow.
Great.
We're going the weekend.
Andrea, you ready to go?
There's no question. Stop up.
Go. All right, take 3. Good morning. I'm Anita Fox. I'm the director of the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services. I want to thank you all for being here today to talk about something really great for all Michiganders. And I want to start by thanking Governor Whitmer for leading our state through historic bipartisan auto insurance reform. The mayor was also instrumental in that drive for a very long time. This is a compromise that's 40 years in the making that have been tried, but it failed many times before this bipartisan effort signed by the government. And we're very proud to say today that the law has answered the call of more than 7.1 million Michigan drivers to reduce auto insurance premiums, resulting in more than $1 billion already back in the pockets of Michiganders where it belongs. And that the new choices and lower rates have led to more than 155,000 Michiganders who were previously risking driving uninsured, getting an insurance put for themselves, safety of themselves and all of us on the roads. And we're proud of the new consumer protections in the law and the successes we've seen in combating insurance fraud, which costs all of us in increased premiums. And the law also, for the first time ever, put in place cost controls that, among other things, resulted in a $5 billion surplus in the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association Fund. And then the governor called upon the MCCA to return the maximum amount of that surplus to Michiganders who paid into that fund that created the surplus while preserving continuity of care for accident survivors. In a matter of weeks, $3 billion of the $5 billion in surplus will be issued as refunds to all Michiganders who had a vehicle or vehicles registered and insured on the roads on October 31st, 2021. Now, the first step is for the MCCA to complete the fund transfer to insurers, and this will be completed this week, likely by March 9th. And the Department of Insurance, pursuant to the governor's directive, directed insurers to return that money to policyholders as soon as possible with an absolute deadline of May 9th of this year. Now, some specifics about the refund. First, all cars, motorcycles, RVs that were insured to legally drive on Michigan roads on 11:59 p.m. October 31st, 2021 are eligible for $400 per vehicle, historic vehicles for $80 per vehicle. So a family with 4 insured cars will receive $1,600, and that will be in the form, pursuant to another directive of the governor, of a check or an ACH transfer into their bank account by your insurance company, the insurance company that insured that car. Gift cards, premium discounts, credits against past or future balances will not be allowed. This will be a cash transfer by check or ACH back into policyholders' accounts. Another thing that's important is eligible consumers do not have to take any steps to ensure that they get their refund. insurers will use the information they have on record for their policyholders to return those funds. So it's very important to note that incorrect information could lead to delays in policyholders getting their money back. So if you're insured, make sure your insurance company has your latest address, your bank information if necessary, so that you can get your refund at the soonest possible date. And I'm sorry to say that you always have to be on the lookout whenever there's money changing hands for scammers. Michiganders should note that no one should be calling you about this refund for your personal information. If you do get a call, do not give out your name, your social security number, your address, nothing. If you believe it's possibly from your insurance company, hang up the phone, call your agent, call your insurer. And if they say they haven't called you, call our department, the Department of Insurance, and let them know so that we can be on the lookout for the scams for all Michiganders. If you're eligible for a refund and do not receive your refund by the May 9th deadline, contact your insurance company or your agent and find out what the story is, see if they need updated information or whatever. And if you cannot get a resolution on this issue or any insurance-related issue, the Department of Insurance and Financial Services, or DIFS, maintains a live call center from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we have a website, obviously, where you can get information and put in complaints 24/7. That website is michigan.gov/MCCA refund for the direct information about the refund, or you can go to michigan.gov/DIF complaints if you have a complaint, or call us at 833-ASK, the word ASK, DIFS, DIFS, for the Department of Insurance and Financial Services, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and we'll answer your questions. So with that, I am pleased to introduce someone who probably doesn't need an introduction here, the mayor of the great city of Detroit. I will say, before the law passed, and probably from the day I took this job in January of 2019, the mayor and I first started talking about auto insurance, and hopeful that something would be able to be accomplished, but knowing that there'd been a lot of efforts in the past and what it would take and what kind of leadership it would take from the governor's office to get bipartisan reform, real reform that gave choices to Michigan drivers and put money back in Michiganders' pockets. And so I'm so pleased to be able to introduce to you Mayor Duggan to talk about this important topic.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Anita. And it took years for us to fight to bring car insurance rates down. Michigan paid the highest in the country, and Detroit paid the highest in Michigan. And the people who were benefiting from that fought back, and they fought back hard. But we had the leadership of the governor, and as Director Fox said, it was bipartisan leadership. Mike Shirkey and the Republicans in the House, everybody came together and said, we're going to do something about this. And because of that, there's 160,000 Michigan drivers insured today that were driving without insurance before the law, and a whole lot of those are Detroiters. And I find it interesting the amount of hand-wringing right now in the media over individuals who are getting less coverage than they had before. Nobody was speaking up for the Detroiters who, if you got in an accident without insurance, you had no coverage, zero. You got in a terrible accident and you didn't have insurance, the family was on their own to deal with terrible recovery costs. And so it wasn't a fair system. We got to a place where the rates are down, more folks are being insured, and today, as we said before, we're in a state where the providers were being paid triple for the medical care, what Blue Cross was paying in Michigan, what anybody was paying in Ohio and Illinois. And if we just got to fair rates, we knew costs would come back, and I'm really pleased that the governor made sure that the money came back quickly and fairly. And I know there's a whole lot of folks in this town going to be very pleased to receive their $400 check. So thank you, Governor. And with that, you're going to get a chance to hear somebody to whom this matters. $400 is a lot of money. And it's going to be a very positive thing for many people in the state. And please meet somebody with a very nice story, Karen Nash from Lincoln Park. Karen?
Hello, my My name is Karen Nash, and I'm a single mother of two boys, Trace, who is 5 months, and Stephen, who is 5 years old. Just like most parents, my boys are my world. After I got done reading the email regarding the refunds from car insurance, there was a question at the end. What will $400 mean to you? First thing that came to mind was my son, Stephen. Stevie, as we like to call him, was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2 and is also nonverbal. He currently attends in-center therapy 5 days a week, which has been life-changing for him. Recently, at a physical therapy evaluation, I had the opportunity to watch Stevie ride a bike. He couldn't do it alone, but as the therapist was pulling him around, he had a sweet look of happiness on his face. That look alone let me know that I had to figure out a way to get Stevie a bike. Like most families, recently we are going through some difficult times financially, and we're living on a fixed income that I'm extremely grateful for. But oftentimes I'm left wondering how we'll make it through till the next month. So to my family, $400 is a lot of money right now. And with it, I can get Stevie a bike for his birthday in June. Stevie relies completely on me to get him back and forth to therapy. And this $400 is going to help me keep gas in my car so I can do that. It will also help with diapers and wipes and clothing for my growing infant. 3 weeks ago, Stevie said love you for the first time. I know without his therapy, that would not be possible. I ask that you please help my family maintain affordable car insurance so my son can continue to have access to all the tools he needs to grow. Thank you so much for letting me share part of my family's story. I'd like to introduce Annie Holt.
Good morning. Thanks, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, for you. I am Annie Holt, citizen of the city of Detroit since 1967. I've lived in my home on the west side of Detroit since 1978. I am a mom and a grandmother. I'm an active member with several ministries with my church, Hartford Memorial Baptist, board member with GRDC, a member with the Social Action Committee of my sorority, secretary with my Grandmont No. 1 Neighborhood Association, secretary for the 13th Congressional District, Precinct Delegate 361, appointed Detroit Board of Police Commissioner. I learned from Mayor Duggan at one of his first community relations meetings soon after his 2013 election of the role and impact of PIP, personal injury protection. It was inherent in Michigan's auto insurance. From 2014 up to 2021, my auto insurance premium steadily increased from $252, eventually down to up to $273.58. Finally, in July 2021, it decreased to $220.50. Once I was able to remove PIP from my auto insurance policy, I experienced savings and relief from the pressure of being forced to pay the higher insurance rate for PIP. Thank you, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, for your focus and insistence that Michiganians be allowed the choice to not have PIP as an option within our auto insurance, an option that was supporting the inflated rates of auto insurance premiums here in Michigan. I look forward to the $400 refund that Michigan insurers are to receive because of the Michigan catastrophic bill signed into law by you, Governor Whitmer, in 2019. I am loaning my $400 to my granddaughter who has enrolled in a physical therapy program. So now even my granddaughter is thanking the governor. Thank you, Governor Whitmer, for the savings on auto insurance. May you and your family be safe and continue to be blessed. Thank you.
Annie. Thank you. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you. And I appreciate the two of you joining us and sharing personal stories, because that's what this is about. This is about people. When the mayor came into office and said, we're going to get this done, he worked incredibly hard to make this day happen. And I was grateful to be a partner in that work. And Director Fox has done a phenomenal job leading the department. So we're really glad to be here today. Nothing like walking into a dealership and smelling that new car smell. It is something I don't get to do very often anymore, and it's a great day here as we talk about how we're going to keep more money in Michiganders' pockets. So for too long, Michiganders in every county and every part of our state were paying too much for auto insurance. It was money that could have been used to pay the bills or to put food on the table. And the high rates were unacceptable. And frankly, as the mayor pointed out, a whole lot of people were driving uninsured. We got to work. We worked across the aisle, and I signed bipartisan auto insurance reform into law in 2019. It's been saving Michigan drivers hundreds of dollars every year. This bipartisan auto insurance reform has really made a difference in people's lives. During the first phase of auto insurance reform, we made it possible for Michigan drivers to choose the coverage that fits their needs and their budgets. And those on Medicare can opt out of purchasing medical coverage on their auto policy entirely, which further saves money and puts money back in their pockets. And in fact, the law saved Michigan drivers more than $1 billion while maintaining access to the most generous benefits available anywhere in the nation. Now, with these lowered rates and savings, we're putting Michigan drivers first. After we got auto insurance over the finish line, we kept our foot on the accelerator. Last year, the MCCA had a $5 billion surplus, which had more than doubled since the end of 2020. What were we going to do with that surplus? We were asking ourselves, well, the answer is pretty simple. We need to give it back to Michiganders. So last November, I called on the MCCA to deliver refund checks to every Michigander with auto insurance. Now the MCCA will be issuing $400 per vehicle refund checks to eligible Michigan drivers by May 9th. And those checks will start hitting mailboxes as early as this week. So look in your mailbox. I know lots of us carry in those stacks and sometimes they go right into the garbage. Look carefully because your check could be arriving as soon as this week. I had my team ask people across our state, what does $400 mean to you? And you heard from Karen and Annie, but I'll share a couple other stories. We heard from a woman named Linda and her husband who are going to use their money to attend their grandson's wedding this summer. Sounds amazing. Diane from Holland, who after 35 years of riding her old bike is going to buy a new one. Bike purchases. Dennis from Gaylord, who's going to buy new glasses, long overdue, and can purchase them now. Ethan from Walker, who just welcomed a second child and needs help to get the house in better shape for his bigger family. So these are just a handful of examples of how these resources can really help Michiganders who need to make purchases from everything from school supplies to taking a camping trip to buying a new appliance or paying for child care. I called for these refunds because I am committed to cutting costs for Michiganders and putting money back in people's pockets. In my budget proposal, I've included a rollback of the retirement tax, which would save 500,000 households an average of $1,000 a year. I propose that we triple the Michigan Earned Income Tax Credit for the working poor. This is 730,000 families in Michigan would benefit to the tune of $3,000 if we give them this expansion of the Earned Income Tax Credit. And 2 weeks ago, I signed a bipartisan bill to lower the cost of prescription drugs. These proposals, in combination with the MCCA refunds, will help build on the economic recovery that we are experiencing in Michigan. Our economy is growing fast. We're having one of the best recoveries in our state history and in the nation. We've created 20,000 auto jobs, a lot of them right here in Detroit and metropolitan Detroit. Our kids are learning in person where they should be. And best of all, we took our state from a projected $3 billion deficit to a $7 billion surplus. And this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us to ensure that we put everyone in this state on a path to opportunity and prosperity. So our work to grow the Michigan economy continues, but this refund that Michigan drivers are going to be getting will go a long way toward helping people move forward and do the things that they need to do because of the lack of resources. This will help. So I'm excited about being here today, and we're going to take a quick picture with this oversized check. I feel like Ed McMahon. And only some people know what that even is a reference to. It tells how old we are. And ask Mayor Duggan and Director Fox to join me then back at the podium to answer any questions you might have. So we'll take a few quick pictures if you want to join. Great. All right, with that, I'd be happy to open it up for a few questions. Well, access to care remains a priority. This was an important policy change to help get more Michiganders insured in the first place, but also to make sure that we've got rates that people can afford. I mean, the high cost of auto insurance has unfortunately made Michigan an outlier, and it was important that we address this for the health and welfare and safety of our people and our competitiveness as a state. But also, we remain committed to access to care, and the director's been working on a number of fronts, and I'll ask her to share a little bit of that with you right now.
Thank you. Well, the first thing I'd like to say is I want every Michigander to know that nothing changed in terms of what an accident victim is entitled to under the law. All costs related to their care, their medical care, their rehabilitation are still covered under their policies. We are seeing that some families had trouble as a little bit of care plans changed. Some providers, as you know, did not continue to take auto no-fault patients. But what we found is that we were able to work with those families. They're very individualized. This isn't something where I could tell you that every family needs the same thing. So what we've asked the families to do is come to us. About 110, I think, families have come to us and said, we need help finding appropriate medical care. And we're down to about 10 families that we're still working on to make sure that everybody's appropriate care plans are met. You should also note, and I'm sure this goes without saying, this is a time where direct care and home health care is stressed across the nation for a number of reasons, and we're seeing it in auto no fault as well. And that's why it's so important. Anywhere that I've been able to hear about a family that needs help, whether they talk to a reporter, call the governor's office, call our office, we will work with those families. And we won't stop until we have some type of a medically appropriate care plan in place that meets all of the requirements that their medical care providers say they're entitled to.
Let me take this again.
I'm going to let the mayor jump in because he has a lot to say about this.
There's no question about it. You're seeing this effort not getting any traction with the legislature because the legislature has seen this playbook before. I've offered with the long-term care providers to help mediate a fair deal. Here's the truth of what's going on, and I know this is complicated. I used to run the Rehab Institute of Michigan up the street, where we would treat people who had traumatic brain injuries, traumatic spine injuries. You would get to know them by name. These individuals are just heroic, watching them what they're coming back from. At the Rehab Institute, we'd have one patient with a spine injury who fell off a ladder who had Blue Cross coverage, and the patient next to him had auto insurance coverage. The patient with auto insurance coverage, we got reimbursed triple the rate for your MRI, for your therapy, and the like. We were very happy with Blue Cross coverage. The triple coverage wasn't fair, and it's what drove the rates through the roof. And so for years, the way the providers fought this off was anytime you said, hey, why aren't you paid the same as people who are providing this kind of critical care in Chicago and Columbus and Pittsburgh? They would say, we don't want to be paid those rates, and if you threaten us with them, we will take these very heroic individuals, we'll put them out in public stories, and we'll attack you politically until you give us the triple payment. The legislature has heard this so many times by now that while the media may cover it, the legislators know the truth. And here is the truth. I think these folks are entitled to summer leave. I think it should be adjusted. It shouldn't be triple what they're getting paid in Chicago. And so I'll continue to take the same position. If I can help mediate a fair solution, I'm willing to do it. But they need to be truthful with folks. They should get fair compensation for the very good care. They shouldn't get excessive pricing. That's what this is about. And if they don't modify their position, you can write all the stories you want. The legislators know the truth, which is what you're seeing happen in Lansing. So I probably said that more directly than the governor would have.
Yeah, so obviously the immoral, illegal actions that Russia has taken against Ukraine has exacerbated the cost of gas across the country. This is something that every state in the nation is seeing globally. This is a huge issue. That's why today's action, the announcement that $400 is coming, will help some of that burden. Tripling the earned income tax credit will help people that are at the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum but who are working full-time but can't keep their head above water. $3,000 for families that have one child. A million families with children are impacted by that. So there are a lot of pieces that are geared toward putting more money in people's pockets. With regard to the gas tax specifically, I have worked with a number of my colleagues to urge Congress to take action on the gas tax holiday. This is an effort led by Senator Stabenow and Congresswoman Slotkin and Congressman Kildee. It's something that I think makes a lot of sense, and so it's something that we've really, you'll be seeing a copy of that letter this afternoon, but that we're encouraging them to take that action. Well, you think about just even what Annie said, right? So she's saving $50 a month, all right? So my math skills have been compromised by law school, but that's about $600 a year. You add this $400, that's $1,000 that Annie's going to realize in savings just from this policy change alone. That's meaningful. That's real relief. But obviously, inflation has taken a toll on Michigan consumers, Michigan businesses. I can tell you that state government, we've got resources from the American Rescue Plan. There will be more coming in from the infrastructure plan, so I'm going to keep working to fix the roads and water infrastructure and bridges, connect people through broadband. These are ways that we can also ensure that Michigan drivers have got some savings as well. But there are a lot of components to this. But the work that we're doing is everything we can to keep money in Michiganders' pockets. I think it's starting today. You'll know better than me. I've told my team I don't have time to follow all the intricacies of it. It's disturbing, and frankly, I got too much work to do. So that's a long way of saying no, I'm not really following it. Well, I mean, I think with the benefit of hindsight, there can't be a leader on the planet that would say that they've done everything perfectly, right? This was a novel coronavirus that swept through our nation, resurged many times. In the early days, we didn't even know that it was respiratory in nature. We were worried about surfaces that we were touching. So I think any thoughtful person who's being honest would say, of course, if I had all the information today and could go in a time machine, would I do some things differently? Of course. But you know what? We've come through this in a stronger position than many states. I'm proud of the work that we did, despite all the, I think, false narratives that are out there. Our experience in nursing homes was better than that of most states. Our experience in terms of equity and the work that we did to on the Racial Disparities Task Force to ensure that we were meeting the needs of our African American residents and people of color generally, that shows we really made a huge impact. And studies have shown we've saved thousands of lives in Michigan. So I'm proud of the work that we did, but I'm also humble and smart enough to know if I could go in a time machine now, would I do some things different? Sure. All right. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, sure.
You're great.
Hope you guys get locked up.
Thanks for taking it for the team.
I told the team, watch what's happening and tell me if there's anything I really need to know.
Thank you. Good job.